Good morning. Thank you for coming to East Bay Municipal Utility District's pre-proposal meeting for construction management and inspection services on our upcoming Orinda Water Treatment Plant Disinfection and Chemical Safety Systems Improvements Project. I'm Tim Carlstrand. I'm a senior civil engineer with East Bay Mud, and I'll be serving as a project manager responsible for construction of this project. With me today presenting is Carl Tingwald. He is also an engineer working in our construction division. He will serve as the contract administrator for this project, and he is an associate civil engineer. I will start off the presentation, then I'll hand it off to Carl, and he will hand it back to me to close. What will we be talking about today? We will be first talking about the purpose of this meeting. Then we'll be talking about some housekeeping items concerning this online meeting format. Next, we'll be talking about project overview, then talking about the construction contract, our consultant selection process, how we do collaborative partnering here at the district, our schedule for the consultant procurement, a brief overview of our contract equity program, which applies to this contract, and question and answers. And at any time during the presentation, you may enter a question in the chat. What is the main purpose of this presentation? First, to provide you with a project background. Second, to outline the district's staff augmentation needs. And third, and most importantly, to answer your questions about the request for proposal. Let's cover some housekeeping items before we continue. First, you will be able to submit questions, but will remain on mute during the meeting so that we can answer your questions in an orderly manner. Second, we may not be able to answer all questions during the meeting. Third, list of attendees will be posted to the website for contracting opportunities. Fourth, answers to questions will be posted on the website by close of business this Friday, September 10th. And lastly, this presentation recording will be posted on the website. Now I will turn the presentation over to Carl Tingwald, who will cover a project overview, among other things.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Carl Tingwald. I'm going to be the contract administrator for the CM team on the Orinda Water Treatment Plant Disinfection and Chemical System Safety Improvements projects. I'll be walking us through the project's overview for the next few slides. On this slide, we have a plan view of the Orinda Water Treatment Plant facility that shows both existing and new facilities. To start, we'll look at the center of the slide, which shows our existing filter building. From there, we'll take a look at the top right and move counterclockwise. So at the top right of the slide is the new UV disinfection facility and chlorine contact basin. From there, on the top left, you see a 3D rendering of the maintenance and UV electrical building, which is located on top of the UV disinfection facility and chlorine contact basin. We'll talk more about that facility in a moment. Moving counterclockwise to the left, we have temporary chemical systems we'll be putting in as part of the project. We have maintenance facilities that will be built. We're performing chemical system improvements in the existing chemical building. Then moving to the right, we have a new diesel engine generator to support the project, 2 new prefabricated power buildings, and then numerous utilities, including large diameter pipe, power, sewer, and other utilities happening primarily at the southern end of the plant. One of the 2 projects being constructed under this construction contract is the Chemical Safety Systems Improvements Project. The goal for this project is to improve chemical system safety from chemical delivery through injection. we'll be replacing chemical storage and feed systems. And as part of that, we'll provide temporary chemical feed facilities to keep Orinda Water Treatment Plant producing water 24/7. Most of this project's work is located inside the existing chemical building, with some of the temporary chemical systems out in the yard. Next, we'll go into the second project included under this construction contract, the Disinfection Improvements Project. On this slide, you see a rendering of the UV disinfection facility located under the maintenance and UV electrical building and located adjacent to the chlorine contact basin. The primary objectives of the Disinfection Improvements Project are to reduce disinfection byproducts in the finished water and to provide more resiliency for the Orinda Water Treatment Plant operations. This project will provide a reliable 200 million gallon per day capacity. The disinfection process will be downstream of the filters, reducing disinfection byproducts. We'll have a large chlorine contact basin, which buys reaction time for the operators. In order to construct the new disinfection facilities, we're going to have to perform significant excavation and trenchless pipe scope of work. In this slide, you see an overview of the 4 major excavations happening at the south end of the plant and the 3 major trenchless pipe scopes. We'll go into more detail in the following slides. There are 4 major excavations as part of this project. Each one of them is going to have contractor final design, but the district's put together a preliminary design as part of the contract documents. Secant piles are required for the UVCCB excavation, the Effluent 1 tie-in excavation, and the Effluent 2 tie-in excavation. The excavation depths range from 45 to 65 feet below the ground surface. We're going to have tieback support for the UVCCB excavation and internal bracing for the Effluent 1 and Effluent 2 excavations. Looking a little more closely at the UVCCB excavation, the primary excavation support is going to consist of a secant pile and tieback system. The contractor will perform final design and will need to make special consideration for structural coordination. For example, how they're going to pour the walls up against the shoring and how the tiebacks interface with rebar and formwork. This slide shows the trenchless pipe installation overview. The trenchless pipeline work will be installed by open face pipe jacking. Dewatering will be required. Carrier pipe diameters range from 48 inch to 108 inch. Jacked lengths are from 60 feet to 100 feet, and we're expecting both soil and rock conditions for this scope of work. An indicative approach to the trenchless pipe installation is included in the contract documents. On this slide, you see the trenchless scope from the Effluent 1 to Effluent 2 vaults, depicting the indicative approach with a carrier backfilled within the casing pipe. Next, I'm going to talk about the extensive electrical scope that's part of the Disinfection Improvements Project. In this slide, we have another plan view of the site, showing some of the important electrical features we'll talk about in the following slides. Starting at the top left and moving counterclockwise, we have the new gates at Brioni Center. We have the grounds maintenance building and parking. We have the existing 12 kilovolt main plant switchgear and secondary unit substation number 1. We have the existing secondary unit substation number 2, the existing Los Altos number 2 pumping plant, the new South Electrical building, the new South generator, the new Los Altos pumping plant power building, and finally, the maintenance and UV electrical building with the UV facility below. The medium voltage distribution for the project consists of 12 kV conveyed from the existing main plant switchgear to the South Electrical building. From the South Electrical building, we're going to step down to 2.4 kilovolt from the South Electrical building to the Los Altos pumping plant power building and the maintenance and UV electrical building. In addition, we'll have 2.4 kV conveyed from the Los Altos pumping plant building to Los Altos pumping plant number 2. This slide shows the details of the low voltage power distribution from the project. 480 power is conveyed from the Los Altos pumping plant power building to the adjacent facilities listed. 480 volt power is conveyed from the maintenance and UV electrical building to the blower building, crews quarters, South Rapid Mix, and SLS number 1. Finally, we have backup 480 power from the south engine generator to the south electrical building and secondary unit substation number 2. This slide has a floor plan of the south electrical building, prefabricated power building. This facility consists primarily of a 5 kV switchgear, 480 volt switchgear, transformers, power automation and control system equipment, and battery backup. Here we have a floor plan for the Los Altos pumping plant power building. This building consists primarily of 480 volt switchgear and 5 kV MCC, split into sides A and B for units 1, 2, and 3 and 4 of Los Altos pumping plant number 2. Finally, we have a floor plan of the electrical portion of the maintenance and UV electrical building. There's 4 electrical rooms on the first floor of the building, a ballast room for the ballast for the UV system, an electrical room with 480 volt switchgear, battery room, and UPS room. The construction contract, which is anticipated to advertise later in September, is estimated at between 187 and 264 million. Of that value, there's pre-negotiated scopes for ultraviolet equipment at 2.1 million and chemical metering pumps at about 900,000. As part of the procurement process for the construction contract, the district pre-qualified construction contractors and subcontractors for this project. There were 7 pre-qualified general contractors as a result of this process, 9 pre-qualified electrical subcontractors, and 6 pre-qualified electrical and shoring contractors. The SOPQ package materials are available on East Bay MUD's website, including the list of pre-qualified bidders. The construction schedule is as follows. We plan to advertise the bid in September 2021. Bid openings planned for October, with award in December 2021. Following that, we expect notice to proceed in January of 2022, with final completion for the construction contract in fall of 2027.
Thank you, Carl, for sharing that important information about the design and construction of the project. Next, I'll be talking about the consultant selection and partnering, among other things, for the projects. The request for proposal goes into considerable detail on what the district's needs are from consultants. The following is a summary of our consultant needs. First, we're looking for construction quality assurance, inspection, environmental compliance, project controls, and dispute advisory support from the consultant. We're going to be selecting up to 2 contracts totaling $10 million that will span the 5-year period of the construction project. If we get a proposal from a consultant that meets all of our needs, we will issue 1 $10 million contract. Task orders will be issued on an as-needed basis for construction management and inspection services throughout the course of the project to meet the schedule needs that we have. An important part of submitting a proposal to East Bay MUD is to include references. These include reference projects provided by the prime proposer and experience references for the key team members that are being proposed. The reference contracts need to be current, valid, and notified prior to submitting proposals in order to allow the district to contact the references and make timely reference checks. As Carl pointed out, there are 2 projects that are being combined for this construction contract. There is the Chemical System Improvements Project, shown on the left of this figure, and the Disinfection System Improvement Project, shown on the right side of the figure. The chemical project was designed by Stantec, and the disinfection project was designed by Carollo. Together, the district and consultant construction management and inspection staff will create a blended, cohesive team that will not only manage those two contracts with the design consultants, but also the contract with our general contractor. The district is a strong believer in the effectiveness of collaborative partnering, and we expect our selected consultants to be actively involved in the collaborative partnering process. What is that process to the district? First, it's to establish a business partnership. Second, to develop shared goals. Third, to deepen mutual understanding and collaboration. And fourth, to proactively identify potential challenges and develop creative solutions together. Important to note is that partnering is not a substitute for contractual or legal requirements between the parties. The district is taking collaborative partnering one step further on this project by having the contractor, consultants, district administrative and management staff co-located in a shared office space in downtown Orinda. One of the reasons for the need to rent office space is because of the extremely limited storage, staging, and office space at the Orinda Water Treatment Plant. That said, the field and inspection staff will have office space at the treatment plant immediately adjacent to the construction work. Where are we at in the consultant procurement schedule? The RFP was posted last Wednesday, September 1st. You are part of the pre-proposal meeting right now. The addendum, if needed, will be issued this Friday, September 10th, and proposals will be due Thursday, September 23rd at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We anticipate a board award for this contract on Tuesday, December 14th, with a notice to proceed expected in February 2022. East Bay Mud has an active contract equity program. The program requirements are outlined in the request for proposal with a link to the contract equity program guidelines. The website for that program are shown at the first bullet on the slide. We wanted to outline some of the requirements of the contract equity program, including our contracting objectives for this professional services contract. Those being, white men have a goal of 25% participation in this contract. White women have a goal of 6% participation. And ethnic minorities, including men and women, have a 25% participation goal. Two important forms to include with your proposal include Form P25 and P40. And of note, the P25 form needs to be provided for each prime and subcontractor with a projected participation of more than $80,000 as part of this contract. For questions about the contract equity program, please call Beverly Johnson at the number shown or email her at the email address shown. For questions not pertaining to the contract equity program, we have some contact information here on the screen. First, RFP questions should be sent to our construction division email address, constructionstrong@ebmud.com. And then every proposer needs to be on the lookout for any addendum or Q&A on our website at the link shown on the screen. An important way to get updates about the project or to be on the district mailing list If you are still interested in this request for proposal and would like to be placed on the mailing list, please send an email with your name, company, and contact information to constructionstrong@ebmud.com, and we will do our best to answer your question in a timely manner. Thank you, all of you who have submitted questions in the chat. We encourage the rest of you to go ahead and submit your questions at this time, and we will begin the answer session to any of those questions. Again, we have received a number of questions in the live event Q&A that can be found at the upper hand of your screen with a little dialog box with a question mark in it. So everybody will be on mute. I'll go through the questions that we've received and published as part of the event so far. Please take this opportunity to go ahead and type in the rest of your questions now so that we can answer them for the group who is present now. The first question was about uploading the project specs to the RFP website. And at this point, the bid documents are not available on the website, but will be available as noted in the presentation later this month. The second question was, will shutdowns be allowed at Orinda Water Treatment Plant and Los Altos Pumping Plant during construction to support new equipment cutovers? And the answer is yes. We have 2 full plant shutdowns planned for Orinda Water Treatment Plant that are outlined in the bid documents that will be issued later this month. And there are also shutdowns planned for Los Altos Pumping Plant number 2 for water and power tie-ins. The next question is, do you want us to put our contact information in the chat for the attendance list? And the answer is the attendee list will be provided from the MS Teams live event log. So you don't need to put your name or contact information in the chat. If you want to receive additional updates and be on the mailing list, please send your name, contact information, including your company name, to constructionstrong@ebmud.com, and we will send you updates as they become available. The last question we published here is there a deadline for submitting questions via email after this meeting? And we, as we outlined, we do have a planned addendum penciled in for Friday, so we would like you to please submit your questions by 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time tomorrow in order for them to be considered as part of this first addendum. We do have a number of other questions coming in right now, and let me look at them. One moment. The next question that's been asked that's published now is your key lead requirements are very prescriptive and do not take into account the experience of many small firms. Your $50 million project requirements are impacting small firm participation, particularly for smaller firms. Can they be revisited? And our answer is that the district will consider this request, and if any changes are made, they'll be included in the addendum. It's a good question. We have a number of other questions coming up. Let me just look. One more item being published here. The question was, will you consider extending the deadline 1 week with the short turnaround and holiday weekend? This will allow more time, particularly for subconsultants, including small and local contract equity firms, to get their qualification polished for the specific positions and allow for more time to get on teams and make decisions. And our response is the district will consider this request. If any changes are made to the RFP, then they will be included in the addendum. We have a number of other questions coming in that I'm reviewing here. We have one more question being published to the Q&A. And the question is, do all JV partners need to meet the qualifications as a prime, or only the main JV partner? And our response is that the district will respond to this question with the written responses on September 10th. Okay, the next question has been published. Page 9 of the RFP mentions coordination with district material testing and analytical testing laboratories. Can you please elaborate? Should the team not place these services on their respective teams, including special inspection services? And the answer is the district will perform a subset of testing as outlined in the table in the RFP. Other special inspections will be the responsibility of the consultant. The district will review page 9 of the RFP and make clarifications in an addendum if needed. Okay, we have at least one more question that we're reviewing at this point, so please enter any other questions that you may have so that we can take full advantage of the hour that we have set aside for this meeting. The next question is, do we assume the number of inspectors required for each discipline? And the answer is please refer to the RFP for a requested number of candidates for each key team position. We have a couple more questions in the chat, so keep them coming. The next one is, I don't see the pre-qualified primes on the website. Can you clarify where this information is, please? And we've provided a link to the district website that shows the prime construction contractors that have been pre-qualified to bid on this project. The next question is being published here, and it is, do the contract equity program forms need to be printed and filled out by hand, or can we complete them electronically? And the answer is electronic is acceptable. Will consultant field inspectors be required to attend factory witness inspections and testing activities? And our response is shop inspection is not covered in this request for proposal. However, in some instances, it may be helpful for an inspector to perform a factory visit, for example, for the prefabricated power buildings. Looks like we have one more question that we're reviewing now. So if you do have any others, please put them in the chat. The next question is, can you please provide a non-secured PDF of the contract equity program forms? And we'll look into this and we'll respond to the group by Friday in the official Q&A that'll be posted to our website. Okay, the next question is please confirm that if we meet, exceed the contracting objectives for all three available groups as listed in the professional or general services chart, 25% white men, 6% white women, and 25% ethnic minorities, men and women, we are exempt from good faith outreach efforts. And our response is yes. However, the district may still need to follow up on your good faith efforts. I don't think we have any other questions that have been asked at this point. So I'll give another 30 seconds for you to make a last entry of any questions you have. And if you think of any questions after this meeting, you can see the information on the screen here for our email address, constructionstrong@ebmud.com, to submit those questions for us. And all addendum and Q&A will be posted at the website shown on the screen. The next question is, hello, we went to constructionbids.ebmud.com to view the 7 pre-qualified GCs, not there. And our response is, please navigate to this full link to review the pre-qualified GCs. So they're there. Please use the full link to navigate to that page. Got one more question, and then we'll wrap things up for today. Last question is, would you please name selected firm on the on-call CM services? And our response to that is a response to that question will be provided by Friday, September 10th. So with that, not seeing any other questions and us almost at the end of our time period here, we'll call this meeting adjourned. And again, the contact information is on the screen here. Any RFP questions, send them to constructionstrong@ebmud.com and look to the website for any addendum or question and answers that are published there. Thank you, everybody, for your interest in working with East Bay Mud, and good luck in preparing your proposals. Thank you.